It's open for three. Dagger!
Hello and welcome back to Well Beyond the Arc. Man, it is playoff time, finally, the most exciting time of the year for NBA fans, unless you're a Lakers fan or a couple other fans right now, but that's all right. We'll get into it. But it is the most exciting time of the year for basketball, joined as always by my co-host David. David, how you doing this week, bro?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. It's playoff season. I've been watching every game pretty much, so I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Let's go. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good too, man. It's a busy week out here in Hawaii, but it's man, some playoff basketball, getting to relax and watch some playoff basketball has been good. Unfortunately, not our team so far. It's not been great, but again, we'll get into
I didn't wish to start the
that.
show that way.
Not a great way to start, but luckily we're not starting there. We're starting with a little good, bad, and ugly. David, what is your good? It's definitely not the Lakers, unfortunately. What is your good for this week's show?
Honestly, I don't even know. Loki, I don't know. I don't know what's good about this week. I can't tell you what's good about this week. Um, but if I had to pick something, I'm going to pick the positives. And whether I like it or not, the Lakers played really good against against the Nuggets in that game. That was a really good game. And yeah, I'm not going to go into it, but I think the Lakers, that was probably their best basketball against the Nuggets in a minute. So that has been my good. I can't really think of anything because I don't really care about the other playoff games, to be honest. My good. Why did I forget this? The Warriors not making the playoffs. How did I forget? How did I forget that? I completely forgot that. Oh my god.
That should be everybody's good. That's a good one, man. That's not on my list, but I should change mine to that because that's a good one. The Warriors
Because
not
I,
making the playoffs. If Smoke
yeah,
is
because I remember the last time we talked.
for real, we didn't know. But hey, if Smoke is in the chat still, he's probably not too happy about that one. But it's okay, bro. Maybe next year, right? My good though, man, it's got to be that Clippers versus Mavs series because so far it's the most evenly matched, exciting series we've seen. And I think we're gonna talk about it a little bit later. I think it's going to go down to the wire to a 7-game series, probably. I really think it's going to be one of the 7-game series for round one. So, Mavs versus Clippers is really exciting. And being able to see that combination of Harden and Kawhi and Westbrook, even, it's just cool to see all those guys on the floor together. And it's just fun. I mean, it's a fun series to watch. And I don't have a dog in that fight. So, it's fun because that series, I can just watch it and not be too worried. So, it's by far the closest series, I would say, so far. And I think it's going to go down to 6-7, at least 6, but I think it's going to be a 7-game. So that's got to be my good. But the Warriors not making the playoffs, man. I'm adding that one to mine. That's the second. We'll do 2 goods this week, and that's got to be the second one. Moving on to bad. What is your bad for this week's show?
Oh my god. There are too many to even mention. There are too many. I can't even start. Oh my god. It could be D'Lo shooting night in game one. That was terrible. It could be the closing of game two. Jamal Murray just had to freaking drop that shot. Play of Jamal. I guess that's what we're calling him now. It could be LeBron missing that wide open three, which I shouldn't say anything about it, but like that is definitely bad. Could also be how boring yesterday's games were, to be honest. Yesterday's games were boring. But I mean, the Mavs, or it could also be how boring today's games will be because Celtics
True.
will probably bulldoze Miami and then, you know. But I have to go with the ending of game two. That was just,
Oh
oh
my
my,
God, bro. There's got to be a whole different category. There's good, bad, and ugly, and that's got to be below ugly because that
oh
was
my
just
god.
because, like you
That
did
was the
say, that is
games
the
to
best
steal. That was
basketball
the
we
game to
played.
steal.
It was literally that was the game. You did make a good point. That is the best, and when you're good, it is the best basketball we've played top to bottom against them. But blowing that lead, I mean, there's just the way we choked in the end. And honestly, I mean, players like Austin Reeves, our guys, not all of our guys showed up like they needed to. Prince scored like 6. Gabe Vincent had 0. Dinwiddie had 0. They're just running laps. So unfortunately, it was the best we played, but we still fell short in several areas. My bad though has to be the injuries of key players during the playoff time. Like Jimmy Butler is officially out. Now Julius Randle is another player that's officially out. Now Giannis and Vando are two players that are rumored to maybe make returns in the upcoming games in the next game or the game after. So there's a great chance. Please God, we need Vando in the next game. We need him that game 3. Unfortunately, he might not be completely full steam ready to go, but any minutes from him would be meaningful. So, but those injuries, I mean, Jimmy Butler, the Heat are definitely missing him. Julius Randle, obviously, they're still playing good ball, and the Knicks are still up big in their series, but they're missing Randle big time, and they'll miss Julius Randle deeper in playoff time when they come up against other opponents. They'll feel him more. They'll feel his presence being gone more against other opponents. I don't think they've felt it quite yet against the 76ers, but I think it just will be more and more. So that's got to be my bad. But again, a couple of those players on that list when it comes to Vando and it comes to Giannis are rumored their game time decisions for their next game. So we could see both of them suit up, and that would be huge for both the Bucks and the Lakers. So definitely big. Moving into the worst of the worst. I don't know if we have the same one. My ugly, I don't know how this is bad. I got a really bad ugly. So what is your ugly for this week's show?
Loki, I don't even know. I look don't know. It could be the fact that maybe the Bucks bulldozed through Pacers and held them to less than 100 points in game 1, and they ended up getting scored 100. Was it 130 or something in game 2? That was
Ran
just really
on.
that was nasty. That was nasty. But uh yeah, I'm going to. That's why I'm going to stop, because I'm looking and I'm like, I mean, another ugly could be the officiating at the Knicks game, Knicks Phillies. That that was terrible officiating.
Yeah,
Oh my,
that
that was ugly. So I have to go with that. Sixers got robbed in that game. Sixers should have even that series, but they got robbed. So I had to go with the officiating from that game. I was watching it, I was like, okay, Sixers are winning. And then I see Jalen Brunson's hand on Tyrese Maxey, and I'm like, that's a foul. Call the foul. And
no.
then I didn't even see the timeout. I didn't see the timeout. I didn't see nothing. I just saw the foul, and I'm like, call the foul. And no one called the foul. And then I heard like there was a timeout. I'm like, there was a timeout, and
Yeah, no,
that, that was that was
that was. We've talked about the officiating throughout this show this season, how bad it's been, and like this is when the officiating matters the most in the playoffs in the postseason. And
yeah.
I mean, thank God that wasn't a game 7, bro, and that was like how that series ended, or even just a final game of the series. That would have been terrible. So I'm with you that the officiating needs to be better during the playoffs, not worse. And that was a little questionable for round 1. My ugly though, it's got to be AD being left off the finalist list for Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know if he was going to win it, but Bam being it being Bam, Rudy Gobert, and Wemby. Wemby makes sense. Rudy Gobert, I guess that makes sense. There is no universe where Bam Adebayo should be
That
above.
oh, that made
That's
no
my ugly.
sense. That made no sense. I'm
That
sorry, that made no sense. That was robbery. Daylight robbery.
even if AD didn't win it, the fact that he was left off the list for Bam, I would understand if he got left off for a different but Bam, come on, bro, that
Oh
is
my
insane. That
god. Oh.
man. So that was my ugly, just because. But I mean, like the officiating was right up there too, because that would have been what it would have been. What it would have been. But the AD thing is just ridiculous, because this might have been one of his last opportunities to win it. I don't want to say that for sure. He definitely still has. But the fact that he played a full season, we might we'd be lucky to see that again. If he stays on the Lakers, no matter what team he goes to again, he played 70 plus games in we would be lucky to see that
To
again.
see,
So
yeah.
honestly, this was one of his best seasons defensively too, and we talked about that last show. So he was robbed. He was robbed being a finalist. Would he have won? Maybe not. I mean, I honestly think now that I've seen the list, I hope Wemby does win it. Now that I know who's on there, I do hope Wemby walks away with it, but I think they're going to give it to Rudy Gobert. I really think we're going to see Rudy Gobert win it again. So you'll hear me talk about that an annoying amount of times, because I think
I think that would be, allow
it'd
me
be
to
better
say
than
that would
Bam.
be.
Be better than Bam, but I'd give it to Wemby over Rudy Gobert, except for the fact that, like we talked about last time, the Spurs are like 26th or 25th in defensive rate. Like they're one of the worst teams defensively, and they didn't even have a chance at making the postseason. So when you look at Rudy Gobert and the consistency and the defense throughout the season, honestly, if you're going to give it to him any of his years, maybe I would give it to him this season between all of his Defensive Player of the Year's award, maybe I can agree this one is a little more deserved because the Timberwolves look scarier than they look regular
Yeah.
season. They're like that defense, and he's a huge part of that. So I guess I would maybe give it to Rudy Gobert, but Bam better not. There's no way Bam is winning that. That's why I don't get why he's on that list because I could see Wemby and Rudy both having a chance, but Bam,
But Bam,
there's
yeah.
no. Anyways, AD went out and said, and AD went out against the Nuggets and had a pretty solid game
So
after.
yeah,
Like he really did. You can say, oh, he didn't get the. I mean, there's an alternative universe where he goes up, gets a block, but he fouls Murray, and he still goes to the
and
line
then
and
still
still
got
looking at a loss. Come on. I mean, so yeah, it's frustrating, but maybe next year. I don't know if he'll be purple and gold much longer, but maybe he'll win one at least in some uniform before he retires. He deserves one. AD deserves one without a doubt. There is no question that he deserves that one Defensive Player of the Year award before he retires. But time will tell. Moving on, we're going to talk a little playoff series. We're not going to waste too much time talking about this one, but I do want to go into it a little bit. As we record today, the Heat are playing the Celtics, and if you watched Game 1, it's the Celtics, and they all. Those starters showed up for the Celtics. They came ready to play Game 1, and we saw a masterclass performance from probably the best team, top to bottom, in the NBA. So, my question to you is this: obviously, Jimmy Butler's out, and really lackluster performances. Bam had a decent Game 1. Tyler Hero had an okay Game 1, but it's not enough to compete against this possibly the best team in the NBA. So my question is, how long can the Heat hold on? Do you think they can get one game out of this series, or do you think we should get the brooms out?
yeah. It's Spoelstra, Eric Spoelstra. He's a legend, like top 3 coaches in the NBA, whether I like it or not. I do see them. I do see Celtics dropping one game just because I know that they won't drop 26 threes or how many amount of threes they dropped. Celtics are a team that live by the three and die by the three. So I don't see them having that amount of three performance anymore. But with that said, yeah, if it's not a sweep, I won't be surprised if it's a sweep. Like it will surprise me. But I do see the series going to 5 games. So
And I'm
let's not
with you,
waste too much time on it.
Coach Spo. You made a good point about Coach Spo being a huge factor in that because there's a huge thing to be said for having that mind behind those players and being able to pull off at least one win. It's not going to go past 5. Definitely not going to go past 5. Jimmy Butler is slated to be back May 15th, and it's April 24th. So I don't think they're still going to be playing on May 15th. So it's great that
Cancun.
they're. Yeah, he'll exactly. Yeah, maybe they'll find a little basketball court on vacation. He can get some pickup ball in, but that's the only ball he's going to be seeing in May. So I don't know why that's even. But again, they could pick one up, but the Celtics really look like that team. Could they come across a team in the East that gives them some trouble? Yes, but I really think they're going to be in the finals. I think we're looking at the next Eastern Conference champions. Could anything change? Of course, but they just look top to bottom. Now it's only one game. But those dudes showed up, and here's what has to happen. We need to see them throughout the whole playoffs.
So,
We need
yeah.
to see them keep that. It's the one thing I will say about the Celtics. We have not always seen them keep that. Those stars have not always shined when they've needed to consistently. So the thing is, I think they've got the most depth that they've had around those dudes this season. So that's why I don't think we're going to see that breakage, but we have seen it happen before. So we'll keep up with that series. But honestly, next time we talk, I don't think the Heat will still probably be even in the playoffs. So we'll keep up with that. Next series that takes place as we record today is a little more of an interesting one. It is OKC versus the Pels. Game 1 was really close. OKC came out on top. Zion is currently out. And I don't know about you, but I think it's time to start talking about how Zion really is that difference maker for that team. Maybe people are already taking that into account, but when he is not on the floor, they are missing that edge that they have when he's there. They are missing. You can say what you want. There was all that talk about the weight he gained, that. He is the difference maker for the Pels. Does that mean he's going to help them win a championship or make a deep playoff run? I don't think so in his time there, but he is a huge force. So I know I said the Pels were beating OKC because OKC was a younger team, this and that. But with Zion out, I have the Pels losing it in 5 games. Do you think, has your opinion switched? I think we both picked Pels possibly. But that was with a healthy Zion. That's when Zion wasn't out yet. And again, Zion is that dude. Zion can dominate. Without him, that OKC team can run up on the Pels, in my personal opinion. So I think the Pels can get one, but I've flipped. I think OKC walks away with it, especially because Zion, it looks like he's going to be out for the remainder of the series. But what are your thoughts, man? Is Zion that guy? Is he the reason that they just missed that game, or do you think that they can still figure it out?
Oof. Oof, 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 oof. Um, I mean, it was a close game. It was a game
95 to 93. So
without Zion. I mean, technically, it's a 7 game series. SJ won't come out not shooting the ball that well.
true.
CJ McCollum also won't come out not shooting the ball that well. I think it's a bit close. I want to say Zion is a factor, but then after seeing game one, I don't think he's that much of a factor because I think they were able to figure it out. But I think with Zion, it's definitely assured that they would have won. But without Zion, it's not that they will lose. It's more like it will be just harder for them to lose. They will win. They might win. I don't say they will because I might end up eating my words later. But they might win, but they'll have to work for it. But with Zion,
Yeah.
it should have just been straight up, maybe in 6 games. But now they might have to go to 7. Just because I feel tonight, Pelicans might still game 2. And go back home, win 2 games, come back to OKC. The series is basically 3-1. Lose that game, 3-2. Okay, that's 5. Maybe lose game 3 because they'll lose that home game and then we'll go to 7 and then they'll go beat them at OKC. But yeah,
It could
that would be
happen.
nice though.
That'd be an exciting series because currently some of these series like are 2 a lot of these series are 2-0 currently, and there's a little bit of separation. So I here's what I'll say. I don't think the Pels are completely out of the series because
Yeah,
Brandon Ingram is different. Brandon Ingram that's one Laker that I wish of all the Lakers, Lonzo, a couple of other, like there's a couple players, Julius Randle. I mean, there's players, Jordan Clarkson, there's players that have had more success in other teams. One player I wish would have held on to is Brandon Ingram. Would his play style have worked on the Lakers we have now? Actually, I mean, we really could use him currently, but no. The Laker team we built around AD and LeBron for that chip. It didn't work to have Brandon Ingram as a part of that, and we needed him as a trade piece. I understand that, but I do miss dude can hoop. Dude is like Kevin. Dude reminds me of Kevin Durant a little bit, kind of a Kevin Durant type of
natural
player.
scorer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just totally. And dude can shoot and score, and he had a pretty solid game against OKC. What I will say is I think it's in OKC um today. And I is OKC like some crazy home arena where the fans go crazy? No, but they have built up some hype. So I think that there's going to be a little bit of hype there, and I think that uh we might see it. Smoke, I don't know if it was the one of I saw the one of now. I do one of the worst moves in the last like 10 years. I agree with you. Definitely not the worst, but last 10 years, I think. But then again, we might not have gotten AD, and that did end up in a chip, so a bubble chip. But who's counting? There's still time to win another one. We're only down 2-0. But no, I will say that I do think the series is going to be exciting. I do think it'll be 5 games without Zion, but it could be a 6-7 game series, and that would be exciting. Whatever team wins the 6 or 7 game series is going to be pretty worn down for who they play next. So I think whoever wins this series is going to be bounced out of round 2. I think it's going to be, even if it is OKC, I think it's going to be OKC gets bounced. Don't sleep on I mean, here's the thing. I do think the Thunder are showing the game 1. They proved that they're not going to be a team that's going to be easy to bounce. They definitely showed up and played the same level of all-star basketball they played the regular season. But will that
yeah.
continue? Can they keep that up, past especially a 7-game series, a young playoff team that doesn't have a lot of experience together in the playoffs, having to go all the way to a game 7? Whoever they play next, I don't know who their next player opponent would be, but I definitely have them losing whoever they play next. So who knows though? The Thunder are a team you can't sleep on too much because they definitely have. I mean, their improvement in one season, they remind me of that young Thunder team that had KD, Russell West. I mean, it reminds me of the Ibaka team. It really reminds me of that squad a lot because they really they've got the age, and they also, I mean, talk about a plethora of draft picks, so many opportunities to bring another star in, whether that's with a trade, however they've got it. They are one of the Thunder are one of the most set up team for the future. I just don't see them going past round two this season is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
King Cal, we're talking about the Bucks in a little bit. We're talking about the about that series, but before we talk about that series, we're going to talk about some series that are a little more unfortunate. We're going to talk about the 2-0 series that are going on currently. Currently, the Cavs versus the Magic are playing the 76ers versus the Knicks and the Lakers. Lakers versus the Nuggets and the Timberwolves versus the Suns. So there's a lot of 2-0 series right now. The Cavs lead the Magic. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. When it comes to the Cavs, they're the only team that I see sweeping out of all of these teams is the Cavs. I do think the Cavs will sweep the Magic in 4. Every other series, I think, will at least go to 5 or 6. The issue with the Cavs and Magic is, first of all, the Magic are a team that can't afford to miss players due to injury, and they're missing a couple of more key players that have helped them be the team they are this season. And on top of that, you're looking at a Cavs team that have a little bit of playoff experience together, and they've been to this place before. And I think the Cavs might be a team to watch to make some noise even up through round 2 and maybe beyond. So the Cavs look pretty nice. So between that first series, Cavs Magic, I know the Cavs lead 2-0. That's the only one that I have being a sweep. What about you? Do you think that'll be a sweep, or can the Magic bounce back?
Magic are like OKC. First playoff experience, in a while. So yeah, no. Nah, Cavs are smoking that series. It would be shocking if they actually drop one game. It would be shocking. But it would be a big credit to the Magic. But that's the only game they'll probably drop. But bring out the brooms there. Let's keep it short and sweet.
No, I'm with you. 76ers versus Knicks. I and right, yeah, we are. I'm impressed with the Cavs too, because they've been a team that's made it this far but have not shown up in the
Oh.
playoffs, and they look pretty solid right now. So I'm also impressed. They've
See,
looked
they
good.
got robbed though. That's the thing. They got
Here-
robbed in
No,
game
they did. But
two.
what I will say though is I think the 76ers could still make this a 6 or 7 game series and maybe have a chance to win it. But
Yeah.
more than Maxey and Embiid need to show up, because you look at the stat line, and between Embiid and Maxey, they scored, I think, 70 plus points between the two and had a masterclass performance. You cannot, yes, Embiid, there's a talk that he's soft, this and that. So far, these playoffs, Embiid has looked pretty good. And despite 2 losses, game 2 especially, Embiid and Maxey were on a tear. I think the Knicks have more. The Knicks definitely have a better constructed team. There's more depth there, in my personal opinion. Even with Randall being gone, there's more depth on the Knicks side. But the 76ers were robbed. The 76ers should not be down 0-2, because that game was a it's not like the Lakers Nuggets where the Lakers blew a lead. It was a battle pretty much the whole game, especially down the wire. And those are two teams that can make a battle. But I really think that it should be 1-1. And because of that, it doesn't feel like a 2-0 series to me. It doesn't feel like the Knicks are up 2-0. So I think the 76ers bounce back, but their role players need to show up, because they do have role players that are capable. They're missing Covington's been out. Covington's not going to return. He's out until October. And they have another key role player, I'm forgetting who it is, that is a game time decision. But I do think that the 76ers definitely have a chance to make this a series, and it's not going to be a sweep. We're not getting the brooms out. It's not going to happen. This should be a 1-1 series. The question is, can the 76ers bounce back? I think they can. I think they're going to be able to, especially because the performances of Maxey and Embiid kind of reignite that thought. And it kind of gives me hope that they can make it a series at least. But what are your thoughts? Do you think the 76ers have a chance to come back, or do the Knicks have? I mean, 2-0 is a pretty big lead. It's obviously not. We've seen 3-1 leads be blown, obviously, but 2-0 is a pretty big lead for just any old team to come back on.
Yeah, they just have to win game 3. That's it.
Oh yeah, they're cooked if they
And
don't.
it's in their home court, and I can't see that happening. I know it will happen. Um, I mean, I had Knicks winning the series, but if they lose tomorrow, then to be a sweep. I assure you that if the Knicks win tomorrow, they will not waste time to close the series out, because then they get that extra time of rest, which definitely be needed. If I don't know who they will play in the second round, I don't know the bracket that much, But like I don't know, is it the Celtics or the Bucks? Whoever they play, they will need that extra bit of rest. So they will, if they lose tomorrow, it's done.
Agree. Yo, totally it is, without a doubt. If you lose on your home court, you're definitely cooked. Down 3 games, losing on your home court, you are cooked. But I really don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see the 76ers show up, but we're going to have to see Embiid continue to show up, and we're going to have to see some of those role players kick in that are healthy, that can make it happen. Sixers are, I don't think, I mean, here's the thing. I think the Sixers could be something going forward. Are they going to hit it this season? I don't know, but that duo of Maxi and Embiid, that is there to stay. I do think that Embiid is going to stick around now, and they're going to build something. And Nick Nurse, dude, is legendary coach, and I really think we're going to see that team be something. Will it be this year? If they beat if they beat the Knicks, yeah. If they beat the Knicks, my take of them being in the Eastern Conference Finals is still very much alive.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got to take game 3, and I think it has to be convincing. You can't win by a shot, or you have to win by 5 to 10 points. You've really got to, come in ready to go. So, yeah, I mean that is an old saying. That is true. I mean, I don't know. None of these teams that have home games can afford that loss. I'm going to save the Lakers for last. I don't feel like talking about them quite yet. We're going to talk about the Suns and the Timberwolves before we talk about the Lakers. Another series that I missed, that I honestly, I thought the Suns were going to come out and dominate the first game because we saw them dominate them in their final regular season game. But the defense and the depth of the Timberwolves is insane. We have seen teams go the opposite way, where they show up during the regular season, they look really impressive, and then they flop out, they bottom out. I think the Timberwolves are the exact opposite of that. I really, really do. I really think the Timberwolves, and so I have the Timberwolves win. I think this is gonna be a 5. I think the Suns get 1 game. I give the Suns 1 game, and that's it. I think this is gonna be a 5-game series. KD had a decent game 1, but game 2, all of those, I mean, the Suns, the Suns starters and stars were not out at all. That was a ridiculous showing, and that was not going to get it done. And like I said, the game 2 for the Timberwolves, everybody was active. Everybody was doing something. Everybody was touching the ball. I mean, the Timberwolves look really scary. So I kind of switched my take, and I think that the Timberwolves, because of how they opened the series up and then continued in game 2, I think the Timberwolves win it, but I'll give the Suns 1. What are your thoughts, though? Do you think that Suns can turn it around?
Shocking, you know, considering the Suns swept or did they sweep the Minnesota in the season series, or they won the season series against Minnesota. It's quite shocking that how, you know, and you can't blame it really on health. It's not health. It's not nothing. Timberwolves are just the better team, and we have to face it. Like being led by Anthony Edwards, they are the better team. It's that simple, you know. Now, would they get swept? No. Obviously, no. They won't get swept because it's Kevin Durant. But they are losing the series. I'm sorry, but they are losing the series. Um, but yeah, they have Kevin Durant, they have Bradley Beal, they have Devin Booker. And I was watching the game last night. I was like, what are these dudes playing? Like, they're literally not. Oh my. What's
It
his
was,
name? Freaking Jaden McDaniels. Is that his name? Coming
yeah.
up clutch
Man,
for.
that defense, bro. That Ant wasn't lying when they said we've got that. He said we've got that dude, and he was not lying. That
Oh
defense is
my god.
disgusting. I don't want to play the if there's any universe where the Lakers figure it out, which we'll talk about them in a second, and it's not looking too great at the moment. If there's any universe, whoever they play next, Timberwolves look solid. Katie overrated. I saw from Smoke, and that is, I think you definitely have to look at that. If they lose to the Timberwolves, if they get swept,
Ooh.
man, that is an awful
Ooh.
look. I don't think it. I can give 1 game
Big
to the
three
Suns. That's
swept. That would be bad.
Bro, that would be we would have to talk about that be not like a super team fail, but like the matchup of the NBA today with how like offensively like shifted it is and how much that matters. You would think the matchup of those dudes would be ungodly and would be insane. But between the injuries and between now, even when they're on the court, not being able to get it done, might have to talk about that being a little bit of a bust. But time will tell. I mean, this is their first season matched up all together, complete full whatever. So I guess maybe, but I don't see them keeping that if they get swept. I see them being an overhaul, and the KD overrated comment is maybe a little more valid. But moving on, because I know anyone watching right here wants to talk about the Lakers and wants to comment about how much the Lakers suck right now. Here's what I will say. A couple of things. If you guys remember when we had a lot more success against the Nuggets, we had a little bit different of a lineup. We had Dwight, we had JaVale. We were more successful when we were able to contain or at least be a little bit more controlling of Jokic. Joker, there's no one that's able to shut Joker down like we were like on our team that when we had Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, and Anthony. And we had a system set up. Vando is a player that could make a difference. Christian Wood is out currently. There are players that are out that coming back, that type of mindset where if we have players that might be able to control and contain Jokic, I mean, that's a huge thing. So I do think, and Vando and Wood are game time decisions for game 3. If both of those dudes come back, and if Jackson Hayes doesn't just run laps up and down and actually plays a little bit better defense and we see a little better showing from Jackson, if our bigs show up in game 3, and also I'm going to go beyond that because Rui was running laps. Prince was running laps. I already talked about Vincent and Dinwiddie. If those dudes can show up, now there's no excuse that we blew that lead. There's no excuse to blow a lead like that. I still have confidence because of how we played against the Nuggets. We're not going to get swept. I have it being a 5 or 6 game series. And I don't have the Lakers. I don't have the Lakers winning. I do have the Lakers as of now, honestly, losing the series because of how they played in game 2. Because yes, it was better performance than game 1, but blowing that lead, the confidence for the Lakers is gone. But again, if we can start building something up, if we can build a couple of games up, I might change my take. But I have us losing in 5 or 6 games to the Nuggets. Maybe pushing a game 7. But again, even if we can push a game 7, because of how our role players and how the players that you need to step up against the second most well-built team in the NBA behind the Celtics, arguably maybe the first with how they've been playing so far in the playoffs, you got to show up. You need Rui to show up. You need Prince to show up. And we've seen that happen throughout the season, them disappear. We've seen Prince disappear. We've seen Austin. We've seen them. So that's why I'm not confident, because we've not seen enough consistency. And the playoffs were the time to start that consistency. So game 1, awful game, not very close. Not first half, fine. We were up by 3, I think. Game 2, though, it's almost worse that we had that big lead. We played so much better, and then we just tanked out, bottomed out. And so that's why my confidence is allowed. But I do have us – we're not going to get swept. I don't have us getting swept. And if Christian Wood and Vando, if all those dudes come back game 3, it's in LA. We pull off a win in LA, and our dudes are back, and we're back on track. It could be a series again. But currently I have it going to 5 or 6, and I have the Nuggets beating us, edging us just out. What are your thoughts? Hopefully different than mine, because I need a little positivity, bro. I'm not feeling super confident right now.
Wow.
Fair. Smoke, not a good take. 2 wins at home would be huge in LA, especially. That could be a momentum shifter.
There's a saying: role players play better at home.
Fair. That is fair.
That is one.
And that is theory is true with the Lakers, I think, honestly. So
that is one confidence I have that the role players will come up, and LeBron will not get swept twice. LeBron will not allow to be swept twice. He was swept once. You are allowed to be swept twice. Winning the series now, that's a totally different ball game. I don't know about that. You just have to win one. It's not Lakers can't blame themselves. Okay, they can't blame themselves for matching up against Denver.
Oh my god, that's crazy, bro.
uh but yeah, I do see Lakers winning game three just because
I
of
do
that
too.
performance. And from there, anything can happen in game four. D'Lo shoot 9 for 9, AR shoot 9 for 9. Anything can happen. Game four, and it's a 2-2 series, and we have a game on our hands. And that's what we hope for as far as not to get swept. To be honest, as the Lakers fans, against Denver is quite tough, but you just don't want to get swept. You want to see a little bit of competition in there. You know what I mean? If you win
Bro,
the
that
series, that's a bonus. So yeah.
man, true. I mean, winning the series, if we win the series, I really, really, if everyone stays healthy and we did for some reason win the series, we're making it to the finals. I really
Mm-hmm.
believe that. Truly, 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 because the biggest obstacle for any team is the Nuggets.
Nuggets, exactly.
But what worries me is okay, we push it to game seven. 80 goes, we win, but 80 goes down in game seven. LeBron, like it just there's a lot of things where a game seven is concerning, but also it like maybe is exactly what we need to just flip it. That game-winning shot by Murray, we talked about it already.
Mm,
If you're AD, you don't want to foul him. He was up. I mean, he was as up as you can be without honestly probably accidentally fouling Murray. So either way, we're maybe looking at criticism for AD and what he did in the end. So what are you gonna do? Again, LeBron missing a shot. There's a couple things you can point to. We're not I don't see us losing game 3. And again, Vando and Wood coming back would be huge. I do see them being on restricted minutes. I don't see them having the biggest impact, but just coming back at home,
yeah.
being down 2 games against a team that swept you last season, I just see us coming out with some fire. I don't see there's no way I cannot say there's no way we're getting swept, but I really, really, truly don't think it's gonna end in a sweep. And I don't think it's going to end in 5 games. I really think this is going to be pushed to 6 games, but time will tell. The Lakers need to bounce back. If they lose game 3, it is a sweep. That is it. Honestly, if they did lose
It's
at
game three.
crypto, that's it.
That's it. Because
That's gone.
because Denver too won the rest, and they will take the rest. They'll close it
Denver's
out. They'll
going to be
come out
alive after
firing.
this. Yeah,
Come
no.
out firing in game four.
Yeah, they're going to come
You
out because they're going to want to end. They're not going to want to push it any longer. So
exactly.
we
Even if
need game
LeBron
3
drops
happily,
50,
but the Lakers losing 4-5. I think you definitely still try to keep LeBron without a doubt. I definitely think at this point in his career and at this point in the Lakers situation, it would make the most sense for him to stay a Laker and retire a
yeah,
Laker if that. And I think he wants to. I think he wants to retire a Laker. I really think all the talk about playing with his son, no matter. I do think he wants to retire a Laker if that makes sense. But if they get swept, I don't think I don't think he stays. If they get swept, I think he's gone. I think they've got to win at least one game or at least and I think they have to make this a series because it's no secret. You watch LeBron play, dude is getting older and dude like cannot do the same exact thing he was doing with, playing the full game, this and that. And for the Lakers, because our dudes weren't showing up, the role players, I mean, and his 3-point shooting is now whenever he shoots last season and before, I would look away and I'd be worried. I want him to shoot the 3 ball now because his clip is so much improved. I mean, he's having a
yeah,
career year from 3, and I think some of that has to do with longevity for the game. Maybe he's trying to look towards ways he can elongate his game, and because he can still drive it in like nobody else. But again, as you age, and you only
yeah,
want to do that so many times if you know how many minutes you're playing. So we need our role players to show up. We need everybody to show up in game 3, and I think that's going to happen. But time will tell. I really hope next episode we're not talking about how the Lakers got swept. But
yeah.
yeah, smoke and you know something about good 3-point shooting because I mean Curry has that clip on him, and so that yeah, it's definitely no Steph Curry, but his 3-pointer is so much better. Like I actually want him to shoot threes now. So definitely lots of agreement and compliments from Smoke today, man. Is it because it's because your boys are out? I guess that's all right. Maybe I'll be joining you once our boys are out, but that's not going to happen until they win the chip in what June. So it'll be a minute. But moving on, we're going to do a little player. A little current player versus player. This player versus player is actually going on as we speak. These are two players that are in the playoffs currently. We're talking about SGA versus Luka. They have been in the league the exact same amount of time, but they've had a very different career path and a very different type of career so far. But still, these are two extremely talented guards, two MVP finalists, and yeah, because it's Luke, it's Joker, Luka, and SGA for finalists, correct?
Yep.
So yeah, I mean these are literally the best guards and two of the best players in the league. So my question to you is this: if and in the comments, anyone in the comments right now, tell us, who do you got, SGA or Luka? Who is the better player? Who do you got, bro? When we're talking SGA versus Luka, who is the better player overall at this point in their career?
Luca. Luca is the. I saw a stat yesterday and I was like, that's crazy considering it looks like he doesn't do this. Clippers team were held to 5 points when Luca was the primary defender on them. That's crazy considering he doesn't necessarily play defense that much. But that's just on his side. That's just one of the many qualities that make him better. I'm not that SJ is a good defender. Obviously, he led the league in steals, but Luca is definitely better than SGA. And when we even look at it from a point guard point of view, Luca is the better overall point guard. SJ is there, but there's still some of his game. Some of his game isn't fully developed yet. Like I feel like his passing isn't there yet. Like I feel he's more of a scorer than a passer. But Luca, he's a double threat. Like Jokic, he can pass, he can shoot, he can drive, he can handles everything. You know, triple, double, quadruple, whatever you want to talk type of threat, he's a threat. So overall player, Luca. Overall point guard, also Luca. So yeah, Luca.
Definitely. I mean, Luka, you said it best. Luka comes alive in the playoffs defensively. He does not play the best defense top to bottom during the regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs, we'll see his defense improve. And it's almost like I think dude could play better defense during the regular season, but he just doesn't want to. Like I think he locks in and he plays a whole different level. Like dude was playing against Russell Westbrook when he was like 16 or 17 or 18. There's a picture of him on his national team against the OKC in one of those preseason matchups. Dude, like he's been doing this, and so his level of defense is there. We don't see it consistently. SGA is the best defensive guard in the league currently, and probably the best two-way guard overall, consistently back. Like, but Luka as a whole is insane, and he's like a Magic. His offensive production is like a Magic Johnson type of offensive production, and so since the league is so offensively driven, he definitely has the edge. And he would, even if it wasn't, if even if we were still in the 90s or the early 2000s, it would still be Luka because of his production on the offensive side of the ball. But as a two-way guard consistently, I'd say SGA is definitely better as a two-way. And again, for like considered a pure two-way guard, SGA is the best two-way guard in the league. So there's no doubt about that. But Luka, top to bottom, is better, and he's got more playoff experience and success than SGA. So these ones are easy. When it's current players versus current players, it's easy because you can look at where, especially when they come in the league at the same time. So these dudes are definitely both, in my personal opinion, going to walk away with MVPs before they retire. I think Luka could have more than one. I think SGA is definitely going to at least win one. So this season, though, it's probably going to be Joker. I still like to believe that maybe it'll be Luka, but it's probably going to be Joker that wins MVP. So it's going to have to wait to see which one of these guards wins one first. But that'll be something to add to who's better. So we'll keep up with that. Moving into the last playoff series, we didn't save it for last because we hate the Bucks. We just saved it. We saved the best for last. How about that? We're talking about the Bucks versus Pacers and the Clippers versus Mavs because these are currently the only 1-1 series in the playoffs. And they're both, Clippers versus Mavs is a little more evenly matched up with those games. But Pacers versus Bucks, the Bucks coming out, winning game one, Dame scoring, 35 in the first half and then nothing in the second. The Bucks looked good, though. Bucks looked really good game one. Game two is a little bit of a different story, but we obviously picked the Bucks losing in, I think it was 6 games. But Giannis, when I last checked, is a game time decision for the next game. And Giannis coming back for game 3 as opposed to game 6 is massive. And so what I will say is this. I still think the Pacers win, but I think the series is going to be a lot closer with Giannis back. What about you?
I said, if I remember correctly, I said the Pacers were winning, but if the Bucks are winning, it's going to a 7 game series. If I remember correctly, and I still feel that way. I still feel that if the Bucks are winning, it's going to a 7 game series because the Pacers are simple. We are not going to play defense. You just have to outscore us, and for you to outscore them means you have to have a proper shooting night, like what Damian Lillard had, what Bob Portis had, all that good stuff. And they also have to have a terrible shooting night. So, all things being equal, it goes to a 7 game series, and the Bucks might win. Sorry, the Bucks will win because it goes to a 7 game series, and they just have the better experience over the Pacers. But if the Bucks allow the Pacers to go 3-1, no, no, and I'll keep it short and simple.
For sure. Here's the thing about the Pacers. Yes, they dropped game 1, but you saw them play their brand of basketball that they play game 2. And if they continue that, I don't think they're going to win. It's not going to be a 5-game series where we look at them winning. It's at least going to 6. Now, if we see a game, okay, if we see a game, if Giannis really does come back, he's a game time decision, but I can see him coming back in game 4 as opposed to 3. If Giannis comes back game 3 or 4 and he's fully, back and we see a game 7 with a full ready to go Giannis and a full ready to go Dame, I can totally buy that the Bucks win game 7. But the Pacers are a team that could definitely finish it in 6 and avoid that altogether. It's just going to honestly, when Giannis comes back is a pretty big factor. It's not the only factor in the series, but when Giannis comes back is a big factor because if Giannis comes back at game 7 for just game 7, he absolutely could have a legendary performance, like a 50-point performance, and it could be talked about as one of the best. Like he just came back game 7. I don't know if that would happen 100%. Giannis is a player, though, that his engine runs decently hot. He's not I'm going to throw AD under the bus because AD has came back from injuries and not been hot right away. Giannis stays pretty hot. Giannis comes back in and Giannis is ready to go. So if they get him before game 7, there's a real chance that the Bucks could make it a series and win it. But I still think the Pacers pull it off in 6. Moving into the Clippers Mavs, this is the series that I think will go to 7 because it's, man, a shootout, bro. Game 2 was insane. Those just punch for punch. And here's what I will say. The one thing that can happen is the Clippers' health could crumble because we've already seen it fluctuate already. So my one thought on the Mavs maybe pulling it off either in 6 games or at least having that edge in 7 is the Clippers are unpredictable with who's going to be playing, what the lineup is going to look like. It's better this season, but still, I think the Mavs are going to pull it off. I think the Mavs are going to win in 7, but the Clippers, I don't know. The Clippers are scary, but I gotta go with the Mavs. But the Clippers are still scary, and King Cali, yeah, deeper, absolutely. I can buy that the Clippers are deeper without a doubt, but I still think that duo of Kyrie and Luka is going to show up. And I think who the Mavs have beyond that, their depth, is their depth incredible? Absolutely not. That's what's been their problem with playoffs before with Luka. They haven't had depth. But I think they'll be able to. I don't know. Again, the Clippers' health is the biggest thing too. You've got it. That question mark for me makes me wonder if they can stay healthy through a 7-game series.
I'm just going to say it and I'll leave it there. I'm not going to explain why or why not. The Mavs are winning in 7. I'll leave it there.
Let's go. Well, we're making at least one of our viewers happy with that take. So I'm with
because
it too.
I also don't like the Clippers too, but I'd rather have the Mavs winning. But the Mavs are
No,
winning in 7.
Same here. I'll always pick the team opposite to a Lakers rival, especially the Clippers, because they're not even a rival to us. They're just like the annoying little brother to the Lakers. That's just really annoying. But no, I don't know. And shout out to Ghost. Yeah, Ghost. Shout out to our Mavs fans. Because they are out there. Get into our final segment of the show, our top of the hour 5. This week's is top 5 best playoff players of all time. So this is players that show up and show out when it's postseason time. Our lists might look completely different. They might look completely alike. Time will tell. But this is top to bottom, not just championships, but also, of course, yeah, who's got the whatever. But we're looking at who are the best playoff players of all time, top to bottom, career wise. Starting at number 5, who do you got at the top of your list?
LeBron.
Good pick. Here's the thing. LeBron's my number 5 as well. And for the sole purpose that looking at his playoff longevity, he's had playoff longevity. Dude has been in the playoffs pretty much every single season his entire career. But when you look at how deep he's gone and when you look at the success in the playoffs, it hasn't always translated. So he has a lot of playoff experience, a lot of playoff runs, but not all of it has translated because players that are, I'm assuming on your list and on both of our lists above him, it did translate into more championships, into more postseason success. So he's number 5 because dude has been to the finals so many times, but dude has also lost the finals so many times. So he's got to be my number 5. And tell us your number 5s and your top 5s in the comment. Tell us who you think the top 5 best playoff players are. We always want to see those lists. But yeah, my number 5 and your number 5, we share that because LeBron has been great and very consistent, but there are some players with a little more success in the postseason above him. Moving on to number 4. Who do you got at number 4, bro?
Tim Duncan.
Man, dude, Spurs, like they were successful from the time he started to the time he left. They were even his final season, they had they had a really good team and they looked really, I don't know I think it was his last year is when they made it. They played, was it OKC in the second round? They played someone round 2, but they had won like 60 plus games that season. And he was obviously not putting up the numbers he had before, but come postseason time, he came back alive because Tim Duncan was extremely consistent in the postseason. I mean, 5-time champion, definitely a big factor in a lot of series because a lot of their championships, actually all of their championships, except for those against the Heat, were against you needed a big man. It was a more defensive era. The big man mattered way more than it does now. It obviously matters a lot now, but Tim Duncan was keeping the Spurs consistently in the playoffs and consistently taking them deep in the postseason his whole career. So easily number 4, and he threw in 5 chips with it too. So come on now. Moving in, number 3. Who do you got at number 3?
This is a tough one because I wanted to put Showtime in there. Magic Johnson.
Yeah, man.
I'll just put Magic Johnson.
Dude was.
I'm going to go with Kareem. I'm going to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No, that's a great pick. One of the best Lakers and just players to ever do it because sometimes people forget he didn't just suit up for the Lakers, he also suited up for the Bucks, and so had success for both teams. So that's a great pick. My number 3 is Michael Jordan. He's a little bit lower on my list, still higher than LeBron for anyone that might be upset if he's definitely not going to be below. There's reasons why he's below my top 2 people, but I got him at 3 because this is a guy another player that came in, took a franchise that was really not what it is. I mean, it's not the best franchise in the NBA, but it's a storied, historic franchise because of him. And I think that I don't know. It wasn't anything before he got there, and he turned it into a franchise pretty quickly, even before they won their first chip. You saw them going up against the bad boy Pistons, going up against the Celtics. Like you saw them going out there, and he was that guy that was leading them. So Michael Jordan played between 2 of the most competitive playoff eras in the history of basketball, 2 of the most competitive, aggressive, and he won 6 championships out of it. And perfect in the finals, extremely successful in the playoffs. My number 3 comfortably. Some might call him the GOAT. I would disagree, but LeBron is not my GOAT by the way. Well, okay, actually, I'll have to revisit that sometime. But I don't know. Definitely one of the best playoff players of all time and one of the best players of all time. But now we're getting into the best of the best, the top 2. Who do you got at number 2?
Bill Russell.
I think the number of chips speaks for itself.
What was it? 10
11.
chips? 11 chips. Oh my god. Um, there's a reason why I don't have him on my number one, and I don't know. I don't know if uh let me just. Oh my god. Actually, now that I think about it, Bill Russell is actually okay. My number two is Jordan. I was going to put him as my number one, but I had to check something. I should have checked this earlier. I had to put him my number one. But Jordan is my number two because he three-peated twice. That's the only thing have over him. I have with him. And that's the only thing I can give him over LeBron is that he went to six finals and won six. LeBron went to six, won four, lost six. Sorry, LeBron went to 10, lost four. Sorry, lost six, won four. Um, you can't take it away from three-peating three times. He retired, came back, and three-peated.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about it. So, yeah, give me Jordan as my number two.
No, that's a great one. My number two is Bill Russell. 11 championships, one of the best to ever do it. Obviously, people discredit his era of basketball, which I understand. I mean, definitely it was not the same, but Bill Russell would have been Bill Russell in I want to say any era except maybe today because of the way the basketball is played, but still the skill set, what he could do for boards. I don't want yeah, people talk about, the 11 championship, but what he did defensively, what he did with rebounds, I mean, dude was different. So I think I've got to go with Bill Russell, 11 championships, one of the one of the best, definitely one of the best to do it. He gets left out of a lot of like top lists because of the era of basketball, just because it definitely was not anywhere close to where it is now. And also there wasn't a 3-point. I mean, it was a whole different game, which is kind of where it gets blurred lines with trying to compare and this and that. But still, you cannot deny 11 championships, and those runs the Celtics went on were just insane. So that's my number two. I mean, that's a huge reason that he has 11. It's crazy to think the dude has 11 of their 17 championships. It's
Mhm.
unreal. I believe 17 is the right number. I think that's the magic number. Is we're tied at 17 with those guys right now. That's all right though. We'll get them. We're getting 18 this year,
Yeah.
right, guys? Anyways, number one. This is the big one. Who do you got? Who's your
Bill
all-time?
Russell. Bill Russell, 11 chips. He won nine as a player and then nine as a player coach. Two as a player coach, which is crazy. I didn't even think about it. That's some crazy ass things to do there. 11 chips. No one is going to win 11 chips in their lifetime. Ever. The max you probably do is four. 11.
In this era of basketball, you would never even touch. Like 4 is probably your max, honestly. Like more than likely that would be the max nowadays, I feel like, of a player reaching. But you never know. My number one, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I have him on this list because he is the only player on this list to win a championship for two different teams. Oh wait, LeBron. I'm sorry, LeBron's on my list. I forgot about LeBron. He's but I'm still Kareem's my number one because he won the championship and because of the success with the Lakers. I forgot I put LeBron even on this list for a second, but LeBron does not have the consistency that Kareem had. So yes, LeBron also has won a championship with multiple teams, but Kareem winning 5 with the Lakers and against like winning some insanely competitive matchups. The Celtics teams that they beat and the teams that Kareem beat, he could have easily walked away with 1 or 2 or 3 championships max. And so the fact that he went on to win 6, 1 with the Bucks, 5 with the Lakers, that's huge. Obviously, LeBron has won 1 chip. He's split it up, whatever, but I'm still giving it. I'm giving it to Kareem, and I'm giving it to him over Bill Russell because the era of basketball that Kareem was winning consistently in was insane. That the 80s was different. So I definitely have to give it to Kareem. But let us know in the comments what top 5 you guys want to see, what player versus player you guys want to see in our next show, because we're always
Mm-hmm.
willing to take suggestions on either of those lists. But yeah, this was fun as always. Hopefully, when we speak to you guys next time, the Lakers are still in, and for the sake of all the other, hopefully the Mavs are still in. We'll go with the Bucks, and we got fans of them listening. But either way, this has been great. We will talk to you guys next week. But before we hop off, this is not the only place where you can find us. David, where else can our viewers find you?
Ja Morant versus Pistol Pete. Who the hell is Piston Pete?
Man, that's actually a good one. Pistol
Who's
Pete,
that?
Pete Maravich. I think I said his last name right. I don't know if I said his last name right, but it says, yeah, bro, Pistol Pete. You gotta look highlights up. There's like none out there because he's like from like the 70s, that era of basketball. But dude was like, before the 3-point line, he scored an insane amount of points. And if there was a 3-point line, his scoring record for, I think it was college, would have been untouchable. Something like that. Dude was insane. So that's interesting. Ja Morant. That's funny though. That's funny. That's a good one.
But yeah, Mind of the Football Fans podcast. I don't know. I saw it and I was called Mind of the Football Fans podcast. If you're into soccer, or as we call it out here, football, that is pretty much where we are. All things Premier League football. The season is rounding up. 4 more games. The title race is heating up. You don't want to miss it. You know, I have my picks. My co-host has his picks. Please, we'd love to see you guys there. Join us. Let's have some fun together.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you can find me on the Connor and Heffernan show on YouTube. We have not done a show, I think, for 1 or 2 weeks now, but we will be coming back in with a new show soon. And who knows, if the Lakers beat the Nuggets, I might break Purple and Gold Zone back out and start it back up. I think my last episode was like December. So if you're a Lakers fan, which I know not a lot of our viewers seem to be, but if you are a Lakers fan, or if you're a hater and you just want to hear how the Lakers are doing, check it out. Check out Purple and Gold Zone. It's also on the Connor and Heffernan Show YouTube and the Connor and Heffernan Show on Spotify. But we will catch you guys next week. Hope you guys have a great week.